Look at me, all organised.
You typed up your notes.
I did. I just thought I would do that. It's not often it happens. It does happen sometimes. All right. Go for it.
Hello and welcome to Filling in the Gaps. I'm Justin.
I'm Darren.
Today we're going to be doing a bonus episode because what we're going to be talking about today is not a typical Gaps topic. We're going to be talking about Nightbreed. This is the movie from Clive Barker, written, directed, original material from him. Like, this is very much his thing. We're talking about the one from 1990. However, you and I recently watched a different version than the original one. Yeah, is this the director's cut that we saw? Or is this...
There's two director's cut. There's one called the director's cut, and there's another one called the Cabal cut. One is 20 minutes long, and one is 40 minutes long. We watched the 20 minutes extra one.
20 minutes extra, yeah. Whereas the other one has 40 minutes extra.
And I don't know what they put in that one.
We're going to be talking a bit, I think, about the differences between the two versions. One thing I've forgotten as the credits popped up is Danny Elfman did the music for this.
That's my thing. It's like, whoa, Danny Elfman did the music. There's a bit of pub trivia for you.
Yeah, and it's kind of obvious. There are a few songs in there I go, oh, there's some very similarities between this and Nightmare Before Christmas.
Like, oh yeah, this is definitely got his signature all over it.
There's not too much we could talk about in the spoiler-free section because we're just going to jump right into it, I think. I would recommend that people see Nightbreed, especially if they like horror movies, if they like, and I'm just going to say B movies.
Yeah.
If you like that kind of thing, if you like cult classic kind of movies, Nightbreed, it could definitely be for you. If you're really into mostly physical special effects, this is another one which would be quite good for that. This was kind of just on the cusp before Jurassic Park came out and changed everything as far as special effects. I recommend it. It's not perfect. It's really not perfect, but I think that that's part of its charm. I'm not really sure that I want to see a AAA version of Nightbreed. I just kind of like it the way that it is.
Yeah, I would agree. But I would say, if you're going to watch it, just watch the original.
I would say this the same. I didn't want to jump into that too much because we're going to have to explain why, but I also think that the extra stuff doesn't add much.
It was cut for a reason.
So that would be our recommendation. Watch the original one first. One, it's shorter, and two, I actually think it's a better version.
I think it's a better version too. So we're on the same page for that.
So with that, let's head into the spoiler section. Alright, so what I noticed most, I think, about the new version is or the newer version, I think this came out like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot is added to the beginning, and a lot is added to the end. Like that seems to be the majority of where this extra time is coming from, as well as what I would say are just lots of extra quick clips of Midian Citizens and what they look like. Because there were some I was looking at going, I have never seen that one before.
I'll have to compare notes on that. I mean, I watched the original years and years and years ago.
Some people that you might recognize.
One person you might recognize, for me.
For you.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot that I would, and in fact, looking at some of their IMDb pages, like, this is it.
Just the question mark picture.
No, it's usually a picture from Nightbreed, and this is the only thing they've done. There are a few people who are like that. I looked at the IMDb pages of some of the people. I didn't look at it for all of them. I've got the character names here so that we can help keep them straight, because there are so many, and we barely get their names a lot of times, even after seeing it many times. I still have.
I didn't know any of those names, man. None of them. I know Boone. That's it.
As far as actors, all right, who do you recognize? There's only one you recognize. Yeah. And if you've seen what one, it was Videodrome, I think, where you were mocking his acting.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with you.
I'm gonna eat my words on that. He's not as bad as what I remembered him as.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him some slack.
I'm gonna say, given who he's with.
Yeah,
and
he's probably the best one there.
I'm not sure I would say that, but I think he fits right in. I think that he does give kind of a B-movie performance, but for me, this is a B-movie, so it fits.
I was maybe a bit overly harsh on my memory of that. Watching it again, I was like, still bad, but it's not that bad. And it's supposed to be bad. I mean, if you got like a really good actor in there, then they would seem really out of place. You know, if you got like, imagine putting in like, I don't know,
Idris Elba in this movie.
Yeah, yes. You know, anyway, put in Jack Nicholson as the weird hermit guy. I don't know, maybe that would be a thing, but yeah, so.
Craig Sheffer, I've told you about him before because we talked about Nightbreed before. He is a B-movie king. Like, he's done so many movies, and it kind of surprises me that he isn't more familiar to you. Most of the other people, there is, like, Detective Joyce is played by, and I'm probably going to pronounce the name incorrectly, but it's Hugh Corshi. And he was in Phantom Menace. He played Captain Panaka, like the head of...
okay, yeah, I did recognize him.
He's done some other bits and stuff that you might recognize, but that was the one that I most recognized him from. You would know Lylesburg. So Lylesburg...
Oh, is that grandfather Liam Neeson?
Okay, yes. The one who has the like, kind of eyes. Gills, but we find out at the end their eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my nickname for him, Grandfather Neeson.
See, that's why I had to write these down. So we don't have to deal with both of our sets of nicknames.
It's going to be like we were here together. We have got to guess who each other's character is.
I probably should have done that. That would have been a fun game. Do you know who it is, the actor?
No idea.
So if I say the name Doug Bradley, does that help you out? He is Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, the makeup totally makes him look very different in this one.
Wow. And he doesn't sound the same at all. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I did not expect that.
Like I said, most of the others, I really wouldn't recognize their name or even anything else they've been in for the most part. The movie. Do you want to go in order? You got your notes in order. I kind of just did a quick rough outline.
I just went as I went along and just wrote down things that I noticed and tried to say like, oh, this is a bit from the cut that I don't remember from the original. So
well, that's fine. So why don't you lead us and take us through the story, I guess. I'll comment as things come up.
I just like the opening of this where the movie is happening inside the lettering. Almost like how Marvel does today with their opening scene. It's like, oh yeah, that's quite nifty.
Oh yeah, when they're catching us up on the past movies.
Yeah, exactly. When they've got the Marvel lettering, but inside the letters is the old movies. Yeah, and this is basically a foreshadow of like the whole film in the first 5 seconds.
Well, it is because they're basically showing us the prophecy, right?
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. The prophecy, unlike most movies or books or anything that has a prophecy, which comes up in like page 2, they don't bring up the prophecy until it's kind of already happened.
Right.
Which is very interesting story-wise. And it's one of the things I like most about Nightbreed is it takes some of the conventional storytelling ideas and flips them around a bit. And I like that, actually.
Yeah, I like the cave paintings during the opening credits and stuff like that. And yeah, like you said, Danny Elfman pops up. It's like, oh, there you go. Bit of trivia. Yeah, so basically we get to the opening and that's the dream sequence that Boone has. So he's being chased by who I refer to as Porcupine Lady, Hellboy's little brother, and Mike Patton from Faith No More.
Okay, wait. Never mind. We'll come to these characters later.
But yeah, I loved how that dream was so funny because there's two really far out there character looking. You've got the guy who looks like he's got like snakes for dreadlocks, and then you've got obviously the Porcupine Lady. And then, yeah, Mike Patton's just chilling out there. It just looks like a normal guy from high school.
Who's this Mike? You said that last night in the text. Who's this Mike Patton character?
He's the guy in the end we see he's got like the snakes come out of his belly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but in this part he looks like Mike Patton. Towards the end, you see he doesn't look...
I don't even know who Mike Patton is.
Oh, he's this lead singer for Faith No More. There'll be a picture.
But, see, I only remember him from his young days.
Oh, when he was like long hair and stuff. Yeah.
So this is what he looks like now.
A little bit. Not as fat, but yeah. Okay. A little bit. But yeah, so, and then the way the Hellboy guy with the horns just does like the backflip as if they're in High School the Musical or something like that. It's just like, what? And then he wakes up and my first comment was, wow, those are some brave Y fronts, Boone. Like, what was up with all this?
Okay, but this is a different version than the one we saw. I don't remember this ever happening in the original version.
You mean the backflip and stuff?
No, him walking around in his underwear all the time. There are like 3 scenes in this opening bit that I think have been added that all involve underwear.
There was definitely one later on. The part where he's hallucinating himself, having sex with his girlfriend, that's all put in. That's not from the original cut.
Right. I think that's odd because, see, I'd have to go back and watch it again. I did watch a few clips of the original one when I wasn't sure, but I didn't check this out. But in my memory, it goes straight from dream sequence to Decker's office. So everything else...
I think we definitely get, though, because this is definitely in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely get David Cronenberg calls up Boone, says to come in for a session. Boone says, nah, I'm all right. He's like, oh, I can't come today. He's like, oh, well, come tomorrow then. He's like, oh, sure, no, whatever. So we get that, he's been cured of whatever was bothering him before. Then Cronenberg goes out and murders that family.
Yes.
That was definitely in the original. Yeah. That was. And then
Well, Decker. I mean, just to understand, listeners, when we refer to Cronenberg, we're talking about him as the actor.
Decker.
It's not saying he in real life, has actually gone out and done any of these things.
I'm pretty sure that could be debated. Is that a lawsuit? Probably. David Cronenberg hasn't killed anyone. Okay. But yeah, I love the mask. Let's just go straight for the first murder, that mask. I like the mask.
It's always bothered me, the mask, for 2 reasons.
Because it's from Coraline?
No, because this, I had seen this movie years before I'd ever even heard of Coraline. I feel like there's no way he can actually see out of the mask, because the buttons are in the way.
I never actually even thought about that. Yeah, I'm blind.
The mouth is crooked and off-center.
That's a bit creepy though, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's probably why it's there. It just bothers me because I could just imagine wearing it and it just looks very uncomfortable and not practical, and I would have thought that he would have tried to fix it by now, but I mean, if he's fine with the fact that he can't see out of the mask or not see well, then I guess
definitely
the mouth thing doesn't matter either. But he's got a zipper that he never really uses, so what's the point?
I think he uses it once, yeah. We get to actually see him use it once, but yeah, zips on faces. Creepy, I don't know. Yeah, I did like the mask, but it's more of a video game mask than a practical murderer's weekly mask. What the hell does that even mean? It's like a free mask you get with the magazine for murdering people. Yeah, so then we hear about Midian.
Is this in the office?
Yeah, so Midian is this mythical place. This is what Boone has obviously been kind of dreaming about, and there's monsters, and it's where monsters can go to be forgiven.
Right. I do have a problem here. There are 2 problems I have with this scene. One is the fact that we've only been given the one actual dream sequence, and in it, we never see anybody who's murdered. And I really feel like if you're going to connect Boone to the murderers, we need to see him having that vision. I think that we're meant to imply that as Decker was killing, Boone was also seeing it in his dream, but it wasn't really connected for us as the audience. So that's always bothered me. It seems like a small thing that could have been fixed in editing. But 2 is the fact that the doctor says police have been asking about him, and I'll give you a 24-hour head start.
Basically, he does a John Wick on him, yeah.
It doesn't really make any sense, because there's a patient-doctor privilege, I think, that would go into place here, but also this weird, I'll give you 24 hours, just seems very unprofessional, no matter how you look at it.
I mean, I guess it's because he's playing him, isn't it? So he wants him to, by the end of the movie, he's using Boone as a pawn to find Midian.
Oh, he definitely is.
Which I don't understand, because everybody seems to know where it is. It's this great secret that everyone knows. But yeah, so it's like, he gives him the drugs, this'll help you. You've got 24 hours to go to the cops and confess to 6 murders. This is where this scene is all added in.
The club.
The part, I don't remember him burning his passport.
Oh no, that part is so weird, where he just takes everything out of a drawer and sets it on fire.
In the middle of his apartment. I mean, yeah, he's high as hell. But then he sees him and his girlfriend in those beautiful Y fronts again. And yeah, this whole scene went on for far too long. And then that bit in the club where it's an MTV music video for some country singer. And then we cut to...
Oh.
What?
I don't think we ever get to actually see him, at least not in the cut that we had. But apparently Neil Gaiman is in the scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's in the 40-minute cut then.
He's in the IMDb as uncredited.
Oh, really?
Blood scene.
So he's in this scene somewhere. Fair enough, yeah. Maybe I'll go back and have another look for him. I can see why they left this part out. It adds absolutely nothing to the story whatsoever.
It's also just very weird that Boone, in his weird hallucinogenic state, decides to show up anyway.
Yeah.
And then goes back out, seemingly for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously shot that and thought, this is dumb. Why do we even think this was a good idea? Let's just cut to the part where he gets hit by the truck. Yeah.
But you missed the amazing part where she reminds him to come to the club because he's a welder or something.
Some car mechanic, I guess.
Yeah, but again, totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Doesn't really help build their relationship. And maybe, I'm guessing, just totally my theory here is that Barker always wanted more scenes with them to add more to their relationship, but these don't do it.
Yeah, and he would be right to think that because the relationship was really nothing, especially what it builds up to be in the end. So,
of this version, yeah.
You would have just left it behind. Yeah. Yeah, so in the original, he gives him the drugs, and then we just cut to Boone wandering aimlessly on the middle of a highway, gets hit by a truck, and then we meet one of my favourite characters, who's a bit over the top, but
Narcissa.
I remember I liked this guy, the guy with the coolest little thumb-sized knives ever.
Yes.
And I don't know what his name is.
Well, I can't be Narcisse, maybe? It ends in an E. So be like Narcissa, except Narcisse.
Narcisse? Yeah.
Where he wants to show Boone his true face for no reason. Boone's already like, yeah, it's okay, you don't have to do anything. And he's like, no, I really want to show
do this, yeah. But yeah, I remember that scene freaking me out when I saw that, because, just when he's, like, got, like, bits of his scalp, he's just, like, holding them out for him, like, here's a present for you. Yeah, that bit was pretty freaky. Yeah, so this guy obviously, Midian? Yeah, go up that road, take a left, drive to there, take a right, there you go, Bob's your uncle. Okay. Yeah, it's not like you don't have to do any rituals to get in, or it's down the road and on the right.
I do like, though, that as Boone is leaving, a guy with no scalp, essentially, is a good distraction to say why Boone was able to sneak away so easily.
Right, yeah.
I think that does hold up.
So then Boone basically drives down, he finds Midian.
Well, what? As I put in my notes, he drives through the woods to find some giant matte paintings.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
I mean, I love matte paintings, and I think that they can work very, very well. But boy, did they not they didn't know how to use them in this one.
No.
They just stick out so much. Yeah. Like, this is a painting. This one is not.
Yeah. This is a painting. This one is not. This is a real cemetery. This is the fake cemetery. This is some really bad bits, but it's great. I love it. It's fine. But yeah, so he finds the gate. It's from his dreams. I really remember this bit when I was a kid, because this part really confused me, because it's daytime, it's nighttime, it's daytime again, the sun is going down, it's daytime, it's pitch black. Oh, it's daytime again. It's like their day for night shots in this are incredibly bad. I didn't know what time it was, and I just decided that whatever, doesn't matter. But I've just never forgotten that part, because it confused me so much.
I think that's fair.
And what kind of dog makes a sound like a pig? When that dog wakes him up?
Well,
a Clive Barker dog, obviously.
Yes. I think we can imply that it's not a normal dog. Pretty much anything that's in Midian is not normal. Yeah. It's not what they refer to as natural.
Right, yes. Even the animals, yeah. But then we get introduced to our kind of two main Midian guys for now, who are, and I've got, as, Moonface and Snakehair.
Right. Moonface, that is Kinski.
Okay.
But I don't know that we ever hear his name in the whole movie. But he refers to the other one by name, which is Peliquin.
Okay.
And he's going to bite Boone.
Mm-hmm.
But he has this great bit of dialogue saying how I can smell innocence like a mile away.
Yeah.
You're totally innocent. But you're meat, which he has to say a few thousand times on the way out the door. But yeah, he bites him in the most gruesome looking bite once we see it afterwards, right?
Yeah. basically like torn all the flesh away from the kind of the clavicle on either side of it, and you can see the line where the bone is in the middle. But yeah, that you're meat for the beast. I just remember that as a kid. That was one of my favourite lines. Yeah, this part was hilarious because, all right, there's this Chase. Oh, I'll hold you back. Get out, Chase, hold him back. They do that a bit too much. But then when he gets outside, they brought the friggin' army to take this guy down, man. Holy moly. They had machine guns, shotguns, pistols. I don't know. The only thing they were missing, man, was a rocket launcher. Seriously.
Well, they get that later.
They do get that later. But wow, they were well equipped for taking down one little guy.
They are. I could understand this is meant to be a serial killer. He's meant to, I think you said 6, but I think it's 6 families. I think it's more like 13 people that he's taken out. Something like that.
They do say that, and yeah.
So I kind of understand them having a lot of people there and not wanting him to escape. But the cops in this movie trust a lot Decker all the time.
Yeah.
We have kind of skipped over just a little bit where Decker did go in to talk to
oh, yeah, that's right.
our friend Narcissus. And this is, well, I'm going to bring this up now because I don't want to forget it. I never understood how he goes from the hospital, not Decker, but how he goes from the hospital to being in Midian because he wasn't bitten by anyone. So in theory, he dies in the hospital. Or did he get there on his own?
Like crawl there, dying?
Yeah.
With his face cut off?
I guess it's possible. It just seems because everybody has to drive there, it seems like it must be far away.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
That's just always bothered me because he just seems to appear. He happens to be there when Boone gets
and he's
there
like,
later.
I've been here for ages, man. Where have you been? You know?
Which is another issue I have with the movie.
And he's already, he's inducted. He knows his way around.
I love the movie. I love it mostly because it's fun. Fun, for me, makes a lot of excuses for other stuff that isn't as good. And so I will always love this movie because I always think it's fun. And I love the way that, like I said before, it turns some of the standard storytelling tropes on its head. But there are some huge gaps in the story that I've never been able to ignore. And that's one of them. And just pretty much anything where it seems like a lot of time is supposed to have passed, but we don't get that. To me, the movie feels like it takes place in about 3 days.
Yes.
But I think we're meant to believe that it's taken longer.
Yeah, I would agree. It's the only real explanation. But yeah, he does seem to get there very quickly and know his way around and is on first-term basis with everyone.
Right, he knows everything. Well, let's talk about the shooting then, the shooting of Boone, where the doctor just says, oh, he's got a gun. And then they just...
he gets like 2 seconds to jump out the way.
And then they shoot him about 100 times.
Yeah. I think the doctor says something like 30 bullets in him. He pulls out 30 rounds. I didn't think Canadians were that trigger happy. But yeah, that was... Are we supposed to believe that this is in... No, because they mention Canadian places in the movie, don't they? So it is definitely set in Canada.
Yeah. In fact, in this version, because I don't think that first scene with Laurie and Boone exists in the original, where they're talking about getting out of town. But Laurie says, let's get out of Calgary for a while. So they're meant to be in Calgary. And they mention someplace else, which I'm pretty sure is in Alberta. So
he talks about Edmonton.
But the other thing is, like, I don't think Sheerneck exists. I'm pretty sure. I hope that this place doesn't exist, or at least doesn't exist as it does in Nightbreed.
So basically, Boone is complete toast. Off to the morgue. We find out, for some reason, again, I don't really see the logic to this, but for some reason, this bite is magical and brings him back to life, and he walks out of the morgue and grabs that cool leather jacket.
That's probably the easiest thing for me to believe. How many other horror movie tropes does that fit?
True, yeah, vampires and...
werewolves. Yeah, so to me, that totally makes sense. But that's why the other guy never made sense to me, because he wasn't bitten. I didn't understand how he survived.
But I thought it was just because he was implying that he was a bad person, but he was trying to atone for his sins, maybe? Is that... that's the thing.
Oh, no. It's just how he physically survived to get there.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
It was always my impression that the doctor killed him.
I thought the doctor killed him as well. Or at least tortured him to get the address to Midian, which everyone knows. So, this part, I can't remember if this was in the original or not. Maybe you can help me out with this. Basically, he escapes the morgue, and we cut to Decker is listening to Boone's old tapes with this rather large collection of knives laid out on the desk in front of him.
Honestly, I don't remember either.
I don't remember it being in the original.
There's a part of me that thinks that is in the original, because I seem to remember him listening to that tape before and being very upset and throwing it. So I think that it is. It may not be quite as long.
Right, because this was the part as well. I was like, so he's got this thing. He seems really angry that basically that Boone he got into Midian. Basically, he knows, right? Because he's been after this. And yet he's been all over, killing families all over the place, and he didn't get in. And I wrote ... yet. But that's from the original cut. I was always under the impression that was his goal. I didn't realize that it was his impression to... His impression? His
motivation?
His motivation to...
Kill everything.
Yeah, to wipe them out. I thought he was trying to join them, and he was angry that Boone got in, but he didn't, and he's been murdering people left, right, and centre. That part of the story just doesn't make sense to me.
That's funny, because that was always my impression as well. So now I think that I have to go back and watch the original version, because it was my impression he wanted in. Yeah,
but in this cut that we saw, he explicitly states that it's his mission to wipe them out. He was using Boone to find Midian so that he could exterminate them, like he's some crusader. But he's been killing families. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't...
He says specifically, I meant to kill breeders, but I didn't know if that meant night breeders or just...
people with families.
Anyone with families, because he's been killing families.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but if his point is to kill families, he's got a lot more work to do than what he's been doing.
Yeah.
I don't understand his motivation either, to be honest. And that's also a real problem with the movie. It should be much more clear than what it is.
Yeah. So I don't know if there was anything else there. Basically, I think it cuts back to now Boone's girlfriend. She sets off for Midian as well, because everyone's off to Midian now. And, you know, I wrote, this is where I wrote that. For being such a secret place, this place is really easy to find. Everyone's heard of it. Everyone knows where it is.
Yeah, but she's just heading to
the bar.
To the bar first, right? Yeah. She's going to meet Cheryl Ann at the bar. I actually kind of like their meeting scene. I think Cheryl Ann, she's probably one of the better actors in the movie. She really has a character and she plays it well. There's a whole thing then where she meets up with this sophisticated man.
A banker.
But it's funny, I'm pretty sure the scene was extended as well. That there's the whole thing where the bartender says, here's the drink. And they long shot kind of pan back to the drink that we know now Decker is holding. I don't remember that one. If it was there, it's totally slipped my memory. But it was my impression that they could cut that out because she says in her next scene that she met somebody.
Yeah. And even in that scene, I was looking at it. Maybe I needed my glasses on, but I don't even think you can see Decker anyway.
No, you just see his hand.
Right, okay. So, no idea. Decker's obviously, he's found the map to Midian. He's on his way, and the road, it must be just like one road in the middle of Canada anyway. And so they bump into each other. No offense to Canadians. I'm just saying, it's rural. There's probably only one main road anyway.
True. I was just thinking back to the South Park episode, Canada's Only Road.
All right.
But here we are with... I think we need to make sure we talk about Boone's baptism.
Boone meets the crew now. Yeah, this is the next part. Can I just say my names, get them out there? You can see if you can put names to them for me.
Right.
So we've got Grandfather Neeson. We've already got...
Well, we already know that's going to be Lylesburg. He just has like a regular name. It's like Derek Lylesburg or something. It's very... But I think they only ever refer to him as Lylesburg.
Yeah, my name's Bob. Gypsy Lady.
The one who turns to mist.
Yes.
That's Rachel.
Okay. Bald Monk with the dog.
I had to look that one up. That's Onaka.
Okay.
He also has a necklace. He's not really a monk. The necklace is dead bird heads.
Okay. Okay. Nice. He's not really... The other two are not really part of the group. I think you only see them in this scene. Basically, face ripped up Lou Diamond Phillips. What did I write that for? But I'm going to see if I can cut
Lou Diamond
face
Phillips.
Ripped up Lou Diamond Phillips.
Okay, now I can't guess that one.
All right,
no.
well, I'll put a picture in the video for this one. And then some kind of melted wax dummy who's just standing off in the corner.
Okay, I don't think those are the names I've got. Okay.
But yeah, so he gets this baptism. There's the...
Right, and here's another thing where I think we're meant to think time has passed because, as you refer to Moonface, Kinski has apparently explained the lore or the law. The way they say it makes it a bit confusing. I think it's law because they keep bringing up law later.
Yeah, it's almost like the Mandalorian. This is the law.
So they must have done some sort of super quick tutorial, or the law is only like 5 sentences. It's more like the 10 Commandments. Like, this is it. This is all we have.
Just do this.
It seems like it's more complicated because they keep making references to this is the law, and this is the law, and this is the law. So unless we're just happening to hit all of the 10 things that are in the law, it would say to me that there must be more time that has passed. But the storytelling element to the filmmaking here doesn't show me that.
Right.
And that's a real problem. But yeah, he gets baptized, even though our friend decides to smoke and somewhat ruin the ceremony.
Yeah, that part as well. Even maybe when I watched that a while ago, it didn't bother me. But watching it this time, it's like, did we really need the little comedy bits? Like, sorry. Yeah, it's a bit out of place. But yeah, so gets baptized, and then we go back to what's her name, Laurie and Cheryl Ann. Yeah, they drive to Midian. She's like, I'm gonna go in and check it out, and she's like, I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna stay by the car. Like, okay.
Well, honestly, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, it was just the way that she said, I'm just gonna stay here, and like, I can't remember her exact words, but she's like, I'll just stay here and do something or take care of myself. For the last like 30 years, I've been like, what are you going to do? Masturbate in the car or something like that? It sounded weird to me.
Maybe. It's just, I think the idea of what did you do in those days? You would have just sat bored in the car, basically. You could leave the radio on for a bit, but you can't run down the battery. You'd be stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, true. So Laurie goes in. She comes across this little gremlin type puppet. Not a puppet, but he's like a little, I don't know, how would you even describe that? It's
she.
What's she? Did I say he finds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, you said the puppet.
Oh, yeah, it's a girl.
This is Babette. So
but we don't know that at the time.
But you find out very quickly because Rachel says, bring her in quickly. I always thought Babette outside looked a bit like a deformed dog.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is actually kind of a beautiful little scene that gives a reason for Laurie to actually interact, because it doesn't feel forced to me. Babette being a child, playing outside too long and getting in trouble, and Rachel not being able to go out there because she would also burn, that works for me. And it does seem a little odd that Lylesburg just happens to come up and have a conversation, but it explains a lot, and it does give reason for Laurie to want to get downstairs.
I think him appearing makes complete sense to me, because they've got those guys with the tusks who are always like drumming on the walls. They're almost like guys that are just like sensing vibrations or something like that. They're like almost like telephone poles to the outside world. They tell what's happening on the surface. So yeah, that's the early warning system. So yeah, Liam Neeson getting tipped off is A-okay. So Babette gives her back. Then she wanders down into the underworld and very quickly does a U-turn. Because who does she bumps into the what's his name? Penguin?
The Pelican? Yeah.
Penguin. Yeah. She bumps into him, yeah. And she hightails it out, but then we find out that
Cheryl Ann is dead.
Done, yeah.
But we did get that really quick scene. We already know that Decker was here, so
yeah.
We don't have to question. It's very odd, his car, though. I always found why does he have this really old car? But yeah, he hops out.
Maybe he collects antiques, man.
Yeah, maybe this is his murdering car.
Yeah, it's untraceable. But yeah, I've noticed this, and this goes through the whole movie, is not Decker, but David Cronenberg as an actor is a little bit too eager. They have to cut back the shots because he runs really fast after her. He's almost a dollar. They cut, and then she's 50 foot ahead of him again, and then he's just like, Wah! He just like runs up right behind her. Like, okay, cut that bit. Give her some space again. It happens every time he's stalking someone. He's just like, he's really into it. But yeah, so basically Decker wants to murder her because he wants to draw out Boone, and he's very successful in doing that because Boone's, he won't let him kill her. So he goes up, and we get to see him go into beast mode for the first time, which just basically involves him exhaling smoke. And rather than have his face torn off or snakes growing out of his hair, he just gets some really cool tribal tattoos on his face. But yeah, he doesn't manage to catch Decker, because Decker can run 100 meters in 7 seconds.
I've always thought, and this is definitely me filling in the gaps, given the fact that, again, I saw this movie a very long time ago, and it's always been kind of part of who I am. I've known this movie for a long time. My older brother, is a huge fan of this movie. I've always filled in the gaps here with the fact that Boone is innocent, and that it seemed to me that him being innocent and introduced into the world was why he can still pass for human.
Okay.
That maybe the more terrible things you've done, the more disfigured you become.
Would make sense.
But that's definitely me filling in the gaps. There's no explanation for it. I think it's just probably easier, since we're going to have the most scenes with him, to give him the least amount of makeup.
Yeah, exactly. So Decker then just basically calls in the army to wipe out Midian. He drives out to this little shack and meets... I don't know what this guy's doing, but he's got like dolls hanging from fishing wires. The place is covered in Christmas tree lights.
The set directors had so much fun making this place. What's everything we could put that would make somebody seem a bit crazy?
Yeah. So, yeah, everybody raid your little kid's toy chest and just bring in everything that you can.
But that's, again, where Barker here has turned it on its head. This is the guy we would normally need to be aware of. This is the guy we normally have to be afraid of. And this is one of the nicest people in the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah.
He's trying to hide the secret, quote unquote, of where Midian is.
The secret that everybody knows.
And even as he's being tortured, saying, why would you want to hurt them? They've not done anything to you. Trying to save them, basically.
And yeah, and he even says, and this is why I don't understand this, I'm here, the Decker's cause to wipe out Midian, because he even says this, and I remember him saying this, I tried to get in, but they wouldn't let me in, but he's not angry or bitter about it, and he's like, oh, did you try to get in? Did they shun you? Is that why you're so mad at them? It's like, you put that in. I don't get the second cut where it's like, Decker is a holy crusader all of a sudden. Seems really weird to me. Or maybe they just put in both and decided, like, just to try which way would work. I have no idea.
That's the thing with this. Okay, so I probably should have said this earlier. I've never read Cabal, and I'm assuming you haven't either.
No, I haven't.
So we're basing all our opinions solely on the 2 movie versions. We've not actually read the story where this comes from. So there are probably some things in there that might answer some of the questions that we have. When it comes to the 2 versions, what I find most interesting is the fact that they had the material for both versions.
Right.
Some things being so incredibly different, yet it was filmed both ways. I don't know if the studio made Clive Barker go back and redo some of these scenes, and so they just were able to get the actors in to do these scenes, or if they were hedging their bets and filming it multiple ways as they went. I don't know the story of how that went, but clearly they didn't add these things later. They were things that were made originally at the same time.
Right. After the movie finished, I looked up because I wanted to see what some of the differences were, if I missed any. There's a good website, actually, that has all the original scripts and also, like, reporting that's done from magazines around the time when they're, like, live from the shoot of Nightbreed and stuff like that. And then the later cuts and things. I didn't really take the time to read through that. I just thought it was interesting that someone has actually archived all that. I flicked through a bit of it.
I'm not surprised.
And
the thing is, Nightbreed is what I would refer to as a cult classic.
Yeah,
it
for
is
sure.
One that people who love it absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me at all. There's probably all kinds of wikis out there full of information as well. I really enjoy it. I don't love it like those people. I'm not out making it my kind of mission in life to make sure that the knowledge is spread.
So yeah, so I mean, basically he cuts the head off of his taxidermied dog.
Yes.
And then tortures him, tells him how to kill them, basically, what's their weaknesses. Because yeah, it's like, if you can't join him, beat him. That's the opposite on that. Oh, there you go. Yeah, and so he manages to torture this poor little grandfather dude, and he gives up the secrets of some take bullets, some sunshine, their powers and stuff.
But again, it's hardly a secret. I mean, I guess it is, but the thing is, what kills them? What would kill almost everyone except for the sunlight.
Oh, yeah, bullets. Yeah, bullets and
bullets and fire.
Yeah. But then this room where Laurie wakes up was pretty awesome, man. That room just full of skulls everywhere. That's pretty cool. And
on top of it, it's where we zoom in on the lit up eyes to get the history, the kind of weird flashback
that's
history.
right. And not only is she in this room with where the walls are made of skulls, she's also in a coffin. And then she gets a big dose of exposition.
Kind of weird. I almost don't want this to be here. I think her telling us that humans envy them, and of course they would want to destroy what they envy, I'm totally fine with that. And then we go into these scenes of people being burned at the stake, and I'm like, well, okay, I didn't really need that.
Yeah.
And we already had it. All this does is tell us Babette has the power to show us history, I guess.
Yeah. I guess, was that the Inquisition or something like that?
Could be. As I was watching it this time, I was actually kind of wondering if these were meant to be things that had been hidden in history that we didn't even know about.
Right.
That there may have been... Obviously, in this world, Nightbreed exists and has existed for a very long time. And it's in this conversation, I think, where Laurie references, aren't you immortal? And Rachel says, no, I mean, we can be killed. But not saying we don't live forever.
Right.
Which makes me think, yes, they can live forever so long as they don't die. And that's traditionally what I thought the main reason that the Doctor wanted in was he wanted to live forever.
Right.
And it would make sense that he wanted to commit sins to prove that he's worthy to go in and be forgiven. It's almost like going back to Four Last Things. You have to commit sins in order to be worthy to enter, or at least in my head, that was the way he saw things.
Yeah, this is where they keep on talking about Baphomet.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wrote a note here. Sorry, Justin, there's just no escaping the Knights Templar for you, because this is part of Knights Templar kind of history. The Knights Templar were accused of worshipping Baphomet by the Inquisition. And kind of fitting for the movie as well, because Baphomet is, you've seen a picture of it. Boom, there's a picture there. It's half man, half woman, half animal, half human, half good, half evil. It's basically, Baphomet is like the symmetry of life.
Half black, half blue with parts of glowing stuff off to the side.
No.
Oh.
What was that?
That's the statue in the movie.
Oh, yeah, in the movie. Yeah.
That's meant to represent Baphomet.
It's nothing like that. It's basically like the goat's head kind of thing with some boobs and then like human arms. But yeah, it's like, it's not good, it's not evil, it's not a man, it's not a woman, it's not an animal, it's not human. Basically, yeah, the Inquisition accused the Knights Templar of worshipping this. There's a bit of interesting history behind that. Not for now. And yeah, so yeah, you just cannot escape the Knights Templar, Justin. You're doomed for eternity to always be subjected to references.
Especially as long as I keep doing this podcast.
So she goes down. Am I jumping the gun a bit after this? She goes down into the tabernacle?
Well, is this where she's trying to find Boone?
Basically, yeah.
And she's running into everybody, and this is where we get to see all of the citizens of Midian.
Yeah. This was the part that was so vivid in my mind, because this blew my mind as a kid.
It did, though. I think that there's a lot added in this one. I think there's a lot of quick 2-second clips, 10-second clips here that were not in the original one. But yeah, it's really cool. My favorite part is the bridge area.
It looks like something out of MC Escher. Yeah, it's crazy.
And it looks just so real and genuine. You look at that and you go, wow, that would be very CG nowadays probably. Yeah. But they probably had a lot of bridges where people had to walk across. Scary, delicate-looking bridges.
Yeah, they definitely went to town on this whole, what would you call it, like set? Yeah, went to town on this whole set, for sure.
I love the whole Boone almost look-alike that she's following. But then when he turns around, he's like the worst-looking guy in the whole movie.
I wrote down, it's like, yeah. So basically, who have we got? We've got, the guy that always stuck with me is the weird-looking guy with the giraffe's neck, and his head is down on top of his belly, and he's got like plastic bags for Wellington boots. The stop-motion puppets eating each other. It's almost like I said, it's like an MC Escher vision of hell almost. Definitely the flying manta rays and the cat with the boobs riding the alligator thing. That I don't remember that. Then there's the giant obese man with like the razor teeth that just like looms over her. He was in the original cut for sure. And then you got Mike Patton again, who looks less like Mike Patton now, feeding eels with his own blood. That was in the original cut.
That definitely was, because he's a character that actually speaks and does stuff. His friend is referred to in IMDb as Devil Lude. He's the one who's like, looks kind of devil-like, but he's, kind of like a dark blue with white horns.
Mm. Then you got the woman.
Oh, by the way, Mike Patton. His name is Leroy Gom.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Leroy Jenkins. That would be amazing.
No, but it is Leroy Gom, so he gets an almost normal name.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, the woman with like the fan, and then like she takes the fan away and half of her face is missing. Pretty sure she was in the original as well. The rotting mush jelly human. He looks like one of the things. What were the things called in Soma? Where they were like half human, half machine. They were changed by that gel.
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah? But then, then she finally, and you can clearly see it's not Boone. It's a guy who's really skinny in a white t-shirt. And then she turns around. Seriously, Serpent Dimension Morty. Come on, look at that. Boom, right there. That's what he looks like. And not only do we get him, but later on we get like a female version of him.
Yeah, and this is, to me, one of the least impressive bits of makeup in the movie.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it was pretty funny. I
think he would be fine as one that's just kind of off to the side, but one where we have to specifically focus in on. I just wanted something better in this one.
But yeah, so I think next she goes down to the Berserkers.
Right, and that's where our friend Onaka kind of helps her out because she gets too close.
Right, yeah. So, she's getting strangled and...
It's actually where we learn he can speak because up until now he's never spoken.
Yeah. So, he does speak and then this is the part where Decker's just gone bananas now. He's just killing everyone. Motel workers, hunters, truck drivers. You know, if he looks at you in a supermarket, you're dead, man. It's like, Decker's just... How has he not been captured? He's just murdering everyone he bumps into. Yeah, why? I forgot this. Why do they end up going to the motel together?
All right, so...
What happened in between that?
Boone went to see Baphomet.
Oh, that's right.
And... basically, it's the law. He broke the law to save Laurie, and so he's expected now to leave. But I don't know if Baphomet says that or if Lylesburg says that, because we don't actually get to see the interaction with Baphomet.
No. I'm pretty sure Baphomet probably did say that because he knows that, he'll be back. That's the prophecy.
So they basically are evicted, so they have to leave.
That's right. Yeah, because he does get pushed out that door and it gets locked behind him. Yeah.
So they go out, and then... What, Decker brings the cops to the motel? Is that what happens?
Yeah, they bring the cops to the motel, and they go in. She says there's been like a bloodbath next door. There's a big hole in the wall.
There's a huge hole in the wall that she doesn't notice for about 10 minutes. That's right. He goes in and he sees the bodies, and he can't control himself because now he has a sort of bloodlust and a taste for blood. And so he's coated in blood when they find him.
Yeah, and he does have a little taste of it as well. But he does show us that he's got it under control. He manages to revert back. And then he just lets them take him in.
This is also where we get to meet our priest, Ashbury.
Yes. I love the doctor's examination in this part as well, man. This was so funny. Where did they find that doctor, man? Is that someone's like, hey, have you got a stethoscope? Yeah, I got one out of a toy kit when I was a kid. It's like, all right, get in there.
I don't remember the press conference.
No, this is a lot of new stuff here as well. There's a lot of... All
the press conference
stuff
surprised me because I didn't remember that happening.
No.
But it eventually leads to the sheriff running in and saying, what have you got here? This guy's already dead or something.
Yeah, because they get the doctor in. He doesn't pull his shirt up. He just goes in through the bloody hole in his shirt. Just let's just stick it right into the most unhygienic place. It's the dirtiest part of your t-shirt, basically. Get blood all over my stethoscope. And then when he takes his pulse, he doesn't even take his pulse right. He takes his pulse on this side of his hand. He should take it on the other side where the thumb is. This guy does not have a medical degree. Definitely.
This is a B-movie doctor. With all the other things going on, this is the least of my concern.
But I mean, seriously, he's got a stab wound in his chest. Why would you put it in that hole?
Why would you not clean up the hole if you're the doctor? Yeah, I mean, we just need to move on to the next part because none of the doctor scene is going to make any sense to you.
Yeah. So anyway, we kind of cut back and forth here between the jail and back at Midian. So basically now the cops show up to check out the graveyard. And then right here as well, I say, oh yeah, I forgot about demented Phil Collins. There's a guy, he's got do you know what I'm talking about? He's got a really weird shaped, really scanners type head. His head is ready to pop. And he's got on a little suit as well.
He just have a lumpy head?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Demented Phil Collins. And then we lose our guy. I still don't know his name. He gets beaten up by the cops and explodes outside in the sunshine.
Oh, right, Onaka, yeah. But this is also where... Is this the scene where Decker decides to kill the cop? Or is that later?
I think Decker hasn't gotten out yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, not yet. But and I remember seeing this as a kid as well. I keep on saying I was a kid. I wasn't a kid. I was a teenager. But that's still a kid. But yeah, so I felt really sad when this guy...
He's been nothing but good the whole movie.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point of why a lot of people love this movie is because, like you said, it flips everything on its head. The monsters are the good guys. The people are actually the monsters.
And this is probably the first thing like that I really saw. There were a handful of other things, like an episode in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and a few other things that had done this kind of thing before. You've obviously got traditional things like Beauty and the Beast, where the Beast is essentially nice on the inside, but he's looked at. But this does it on such a bigger scale, and no version of any of the other things have quite made the monsters look so horrific in many ways and awful that it makes it even harder to see them as good.
And I think that's definitely Clive Barker's style. I mean, even you could even make the argument for Hellraiser to a point. Like, everyone in Hellraiser that gets it deserves it, pretty much.
And I think it's also just that Clive Barker, especially when it comes to the visuals for this and for Hellraiser, the creatures that he's created are so his and so unlike anything else. That I think that does resonate a lot with people who wanted that aesthetic and wanted monsters that looked truly horrific.
Right. So yeah, then we cut back to the police station, and it's like, yeah, it's basically the Boone escapes. Hang on a second. Boone escapes, yeah. Does he kill the policeman? Or does he just like knock him out?
He doesn't do anything to escape.
No, it's the woman, yeah. And again, I don't know if
and our friend in the cowboy hat. So he comes charging in. I'm pretty sure that in the opening, at least one of the cops gets shot. Certainly in the hallway where Boone's room is.
Oh yeah, the cop shoots the other cop.
The cop shoots the other cop.
Yeah.
So there is death that happens.
Yeah.
She kisses the one, and I don't know if that... I've always interpreted it as she basically knocked him out, that he wasn't dead. Because she comes in and says, I don't really want to hurt you. And I think if she did, that would kind of go against the idea of them being the nice guys, them being the good guys, versus these cops who are the worst, most bloodthirsty cops that have ever
crazy, man.
been in a film.
Like, what the hell's going on? And I think this was cut as well.
It's even worse in this one because you're talking about the introduction to all the weapons, right?
Yeah.
And he's looking at Garrett or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would bet money that was not in the original one.
He basically orgasms over that garrote, man. It's so funny. They've got, like, everything in that police station, man. They got rocket launchers, grenade launchers, claymores? Why does a police station have bloody claymore mines?
I think that we're meant to believe this is, again, police who love their guns and weapons, and so they've just amassed a lot.
Yeah. Well, so then they give all the weapons out to like the hillbilly army outside. And again, this is just like a modern take on the pitchfork scene, yeah. But I don't remember this being this long, or even if at all.
What, the scene of them getting ready?
Yeah.
I think there's some quick clips, but this is definitely extended.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff added to that, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And then we're driving back to Midian again, and the priest is in tow, like, get all your holy water and your crosses and stuff. This is where the priest is reading from the Bible, and he's like, and then they will destroy Midian. And I was like, all right, I'm calling BS on this. So I looked it up. No, Midian is actually in the Bible. It's not where monsters go, but yeah, it does exist. And so I suppose it makes a lot of sense now that it's almost like their prophecy now from their Bible, and they're going to, they're doing the will of God now, which was pretty cool, actually. I like that when movies do that. It's like a bit of an ARG. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I guess just skip all that. Like, there's a bunch of fighting. The berserkers get released, but
okay, I want to do. All right. There are a few things that happen here which are very important. One, I I do like this. This is quite an intense fighting action scene. Decker kills the detective with like a straight blade. It just seems very odd that he would do this. And in the way he does it, ooh, I think I found this. And the detective goes, why are you pointing out this mask? And he just slits his throat, and that's done. There are obvious changes between the original and this one. Mainly the fact that our friend who showed us his true face gets his head cut off in the battle and gets it thrown at Boone. And in the original one, he's hanging out, like, he does not die.
Yeah.
And this is where I was saying some very different things happen in this version and the other version, but clearly they filmed both.
Yeah, I definitely know that this is from Cabal in the book, because I went and I read a quick synopsis, and yeah, they mentioned that part specifically. So I think maybe what they've done is they've said, we're going to shoot a movie version, and then we're going to shoot a true to the book version, and we're going to try and make them meet somewhere in the middle. That would be my best guess.
Releasing the Berserkers, yes, I think for me, they weren't doing a good enough job of showing them losing.
Well, I mean, when he just like breaks that coffer, it's like, here's a weapon. It's like, that's a plank of wood.
Which I don't remember that from the original.
I don't remember that from the original either.
I'm sure they can come up with better weapons. They have all kinds of things downstairs.
Aren't they all like supernatural monsters anyway? Don't they have talents?
Well, not all of them.
Not all of them do.
I think your mutant Phil Collins probably doesn't have any special powers. He probably needs something.
Drum them to death.
But I feel like in their area, they must have something better than this beat up old wood.
You can just throw that holy water at them, man, that you've got downstairs. Anything.
I've never really felt like they were totally losing, and I felt like we needed to see them totally losing. We've already had Boone's rousing speech. They are fighting back, but I still don't get the impression that they're really losing and that they're desperate enough to release the Berserkers. But they do. Tell me what you think about the way the Berserkers look.
I mean, for everything else, out of the whole movie, you've got really good makeup, but the Berserkers are just, they're almost like a final thought, man. It's like, we've run out of material.
Let's put some football pads on them.
Paper mache and football equipment, yeah.
It just cracks me up because it's so obvious that there are football pads under there. It's just so obvious that they've done that. It might be hockey shoulder pads in this Canada, so it is possible, but it's so obviously pads that they've just extended in some way. Spray painted. I don't mind though. I like the Berserkers, but I want, if they're really Berserkers, if they're so out of control, they seem to ignore Boone pretty easily when he just crawls up.
Yeah.
I want them to be attacking each other. I want them to be just totally out of control because they seem to go straight for the cops.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
a homing missile.
I don't think they're as dangerous as you led us to believe this whole time.
We've locked all these guys in the basement for like 1,000 years. Yeah. The first thing they would probably do is attack their jailers. Yeah. And maybe make friends with the people that are freeing them upstairs, letting off all the claymore mines and stuff. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is.
It's fun though.
It's so funny. What I realized was so funny was, what's the first thing they do? Go straight for the balls.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Boone and Decker have their kind of final showdown. And this is not, again, from the original. Part of it is, but the last scene is not.
Which last scene? I've always loved the fact that, I know it's such a cheap and easy effect, I'm sure, but the way he gets the sword through him from the table, and he's got the card. I've always loved that. I wrote that in here. I said, okay, we have to ask the really deep philosophical questions here at Filling in the Gaps. Why does Boone get stabbed right through the chest and then subsequently fall into a card table and then have the Ace of Hearts perfectly skewered onto the tip of the blade? Certainly could be a lot of symbolism there, couldn't there?
I think so. But yeah, so they have their fight. He does that thing, and then he launches him off the thing. But in the original cut, he's skewered on top of Baphomet. In this, he just crashes onto like a table or something like that, onto like a concrete block. And I was thinking, I don't remember that. He must somehow roll off of that and get skewered, because I'm waiting for what we know is coming as this ending.
Won't.
But it doesn't happen.
No.
And I was very disappointed with what the ending was in this cut. Anyway, so the sheriff, we get some new scenes, or at least scenes I don't remember, where the sheriff gets killed by the priest. I definitely don't remember that part.
Oh, so you're cutting after the battle.
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose we should talk about how the priest bites the dust as well. Well, doesn't bite it, but he gets his own baptism.
There's more time spent this time. Originally, he just kind of accidentally tips over the bowl.
Yes.
But in this one, Baphomet kind of makes a scowling face before he does, which leads you to believe that somehow Baphomet has caused this to happen.
Right.
Leads to pretty much the same thing, but I prefer the other version just because it's shorter.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Yeah. And also, it's his own fault in that one.
Right.
If Baphomet actually does interfere in some way, then that leads me to believe that he wants vindication, and there's at least some sort of justification for it in this version. In the original version, it was all his own fault, and he deserved it himself.
Because, I mean, even in this version, he kind of does a 180. He's like, no, these guys are good, we can't kill them. There's children down there. There's innocent people.
He's doing a lot of that in this one.
Yeah.
And then suddenly is like, well, you burned my face. Now I hate you all.
I hate you. And again, that ties back to the whole Decker thing, but which is not in this, they flipped it again. Make up your mind.
Right. So I guess let's talk about these endings here.
Yeah.
Ashbury, our priest, instead of in the original version where he had created a shrine to Decker.
Yes.
And basically brings him back to life using
in a terrific jump scare. Like that part where Decker just suddenly wakes up and just whoa, and his hands come out. Gets me every time. And even this time I was waiting for it, when's it coming? I'm not going to flinch this time. But it never comes.
It's not even
there. It's not even in the movie. That's one of the best bits.
No. Instead, he now has superhuman strength because he's picking the sheriff up with one hand.
That sheriff was a big lad.
Yeah. So that whole thing was added. I even went back to check, was the sheriff at the base of the shrine before? No, I don't think we ever see him again. I think we just assume that he died. With this one, we also have the incredibly extra scene with Laurie and Boone, which I think is what you've been dying to talk about the whole time.
Yeah.
Where Boone's going to leave her behind to go show everybody where to go and live. We also get a whole thing in the barn, a whole conversation, and more shots of more citizens here than we did in the original one, where they talk about how long it might take. In the original one, we just kind of get to see them and zoom out. We don't get any kind of conversation here. But Laurie wants to, she doesn't want to be left behind.
Right.
And again, problem, it seems like everything's happened in 3 days, but she's like, I've done so much to get here. It's like, well, it's been 2 days. But I think we're led to believe it's been a long journey to get here. She doesn't want to be left behind, and so she kills herself, and Boone has to bite her to bring her back.
She Juliet's herself. Yeah, so then that's it.
It's a weird scene. I don't like that scene at all. It doesn't seem to fit. It's
definitely back to where we started with Boone getting bitten. So, his bite obviously brings her back. And maybe and that is part of the prophecy because it's on the cave painting.
Oh, is it that he's going to bite her?
No, that she's with him at the end on the moon, and her, Sally and Jack Skellington on the hill at the end. It's basically them on the hill with the moon in the background. But yeah, so it's that's it. I don't remember this part in the original.
Oh, no, this was not there. I went back and watched to be sure. This is not there.
Right.
Like I said, the original, the barn, we don't even get to hear them talk. We
just the barn and that's it, yeah.
We just see them knowing they need to be escorted off. The very last scene is Decker.
Oh, is that the very ending? That's is there going to be a sequel? Which there is not.
Not yet.
Well, I've got a little bit to say about that.
Do you?
Yeah. Supposedly, are we done talking about this? Can we move on?
I think so, unless there's anything else that you wanted to add.
No.
I think, again, we would just say, I like the original better.
Me too. Definitely. And I don't get me wrong, I love director's cuts for some stuff, like Blade Runner, I liked it.
There are some things that are good and some things I much prefer the original.
And Watchmen, I like the director's cut. So yeah, sometimes more is better, but for this one, no. Sorry, I love Nightbreed. I don't like this cut, and I certainly am not watching the 40-minute one. Although I might have to just to see what it looks like, but see what else. But yeah, like you said, there's a ton of really dedicated fans that are rabid about this movie, and they just want more of it. So whatever they can get, I suppose.
There was a comic book series for a while.
Mm-hmm. There was a game on this. I played a game on the Spectrum for this. There was a game. There was two games for this. There was one called The Action Game, and there was one called The Interactive Movie. Never played the interactive movie. I think that was only on the Amiga or something like that. But the Spectrum one was pretty good for its time. It had a great soundtrack. Yeah.
What were you about to sing?
I was like, but I can't put it in here because I want to let you listen to it now, but I can't do that.
Maybe we could put a link to...
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But yeah, so Sci-Fi was supposedly had picked this up as a TV show in 2015, and it still hasn't come to anything. So who knows what's going on. But yeah, there was talks about Nightbreed 2. That all fell through very quickly. Sci-Fi picked it up. We haven't heard. It's very hard to find any information about it. I searched for a good 20, 30 minutes trying to find stuff. IMDb, nothing. Just even like magazine bits, like of just rumors basically. Yeah. Sci-Fi did say something about it. It is called, what was it called? Oh, I thought I wrote it down. It was called like Children of Cabal or something like that. I can't exactly remember what it was called. But yeah, nothing. Nightbreed game made by our good friends over at Ocean. Yep. Yeah, I played on Spectrum. It was good. It was hard, but great soundtrack. Interactive movie. I watched a clip of that on YouTube. It looks dire, man. It looks dire. Just like one of those things where you use your remote control to like control the character. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the movie. I get it. It's a movie that you can look, if you really wanted to go just beyond, it's a monster movie flipped on its head. It's a movie about racism, Nazis, tolerance of gender, sexuality. And it's a movie about people trying to define you wrongly. It's about how we kill and fear what we don't understand. I get all of that. But when I was young, this was just a really cool as hell monster movie.
Yeah, and I think you can watch it both ways and appreciate it both ways. For me, it's a fun movie, and I can't tell you the number of times that I brought this one back out because it's so many of the things that I love in a B movie. It's physical effects. It's got some parts that are so bad they're kind of laughable, but overall there's some real heart and some real care that went into making something that is enjoyable.
Gaps filled or more gaps created.